Hi everyone, Quiveen here from the comfort of my kitchen. We're here looking at the sky for October 21st. We just crossed midnight into the 22nd, so we'll pull back a little bit, just enough to get back into the 21st, because we are taking a look for the Orionid meteor shower. Here they are, and its peak on October 21st. So it's got a maximum of about 20. It's showing about 18 here. I hope some of you get the chance to travel into the countryside, where your view, of course, will be much, much better. We can see that the amount of meteors we're seeing is going down as we move later in the night, and it's actually pretty high the morning of the 21st. So this morning as well, we can see it there at about 18, going up to 19 or 20 for what is during the day for us here in Ireland. So it's still 19 just as the sun is setting, though the radiant is below the horizon. We're probably going to see a lot less, and that's indicated by the local hourly rate here, as well as the light pollution cutting off a bunch of the meteors. So as the radiant comes more into the sky, we should start seeing more locally, and it'll be at its best pretty much when the radiant is at its highest. So we can see there pretty much 5:30 in the morning on the 22nd. So the Orionid meteor shower, it's reasonably good. It's quite a productive meteor shower. It is best seen from the countryside. Light pollution will interfere, but it is something that pops up every year. So if you don't get to see it this year, it will come back around. And I did mention in the previous couple of videos where I talked about the Orionids and the October sky, I mentioned that these meteor showers are essentially created by comets. So here, taking a look at the southern Taurids, and I believe the northern Taurids as well, just there, yeah. Their parent body is Comet 2P Encke, the second periodical comet that was ever discovered. So that comet going through the inner solar system, it leaves behind a trail of dust and gas. And when the Earth moves through that trail of dust and gas, which we do around the 12th of November, so their peak is still coming up. And for these ones, the 10th of October, so their peak has passed. The trail of dust and gas is what gives all of the little bits of dust and rock that fall to our atmosphere and burn up as meteors. The meteor shower is really little bits of comet coming through our solar system. Now, the parent body doesn't seem to be listed here for the Orionids, but I can tell you that it is Comet 1P Halley, probably the most famous comet ever, because it was the first that was confirmed to be periodical. It is described, here we go, in various old texts, various old information about the sky. It's preserved in tapestries and pictures from all over the world, because it's been coming through the solar system regularly for hundreds and hundreds of years, at least centuries. But it doesn't come by very frequently, only every 70 to 80 years, around 77 or so years. So if we take a look over here, we can see that it's currently pretty far away, yeah, about 35 AU from us. The comet last came by in 1986, and we can see 1986 is the number there. We can see it when it was discovered a little further away. It's got these other designations, but 1986 is the last time that it came back around. But if we come forward quite far, if we come forward to the 2060s, it's going to come back into the solar system. This is the next time that it's going to be nearby, and we can already see a massive jump. Now it's only 1.35 AU away from us, so 34 AU closer, 34 times the Earth's distance to the sun. Now we're here in October, of course, because we are, we were looking at the Orionids and they peak in October. So I think that the comet is still, it's 2 AU away from the sun. So it is past us. It's after passing its closest point to the sun. If we go back in time, its magnitude should increase. It's decreasing. Maybe we have to go the other way. Oh, there we go. The magnitude's really increasing now, getting up to quite bright. We'll probably have to change the time of the night that we're looking at, because we're moving through so much time here. Getting up to magnitude 4, it's quite bright. It's already bright enough to be seen. It would already be bright enough to be seen in the city. You can see it getting up to magnitude 3. So it looks like we've moved into 2062 for its closest point to the sun. That's okay. We are looking very far forward into the future here, but we can see that it's incredibly bright there on the 3rd, on the 1st of March. Yeah, we're not going to see it get any brighter than that. Of course, the brightest point is when it's right behind the sun, at its closest point to the sun, and that's usually going to be difficult to see from the Earth. It doesn't look like it's producing a tail here, but that is likely to be a limitation in the Stellarium software itself. But that is the parent body of the Orionids. So we are going to hop out to the Solar System Observer, which we have done in a couple of videos recently, or will do in another future video. We're going to hop out to the Solar System Observer and see if we can take a look at the orbit of this comet, and we'll get an idea of when the orbit of this comet crosses the orbit of the Earth. So we'll need to turn on our orbits, so we'll do that up here, and we'll see if we get an orbit for Comet 1P Halley. It doesn't look like it. It doesn't look like we're getting an orbit coming up, but we can see, thanks to the crosshairs, where it should be. So that means we can see where it is in the sky and roughly when it crosses the Earth's orbit. So we can see, in fact, I might turn on the orbits for all the major planets so that it's a little bit easier to see where we're looking at here. We can see the comet. We might as well pull back a little bit. I think the computer is not very happy about showing all of these orbits all of the time, but here we go. We can see it making its closest approach to the sun there, pretty much crossing the orbit of Mercury by the looks of it, just about, and then crossing the orbit of Venus, coming out and crossing the orbit of the Earth just about here. So just about there is where it crosses the orbit of the Earth roughly. And so we will keep moving through time, and we'll see the Earth coming around to that point quite early in the year. So it's coming around to that point in May. So that is one of the crossings, but Halley's Comet, it will cross the Earth's orbit in 2 locations. So coming back here, this is where the comet crosses on its way into the sun. So we can tell, based on the time, that this is a bit of time before December, and it's only a small portion of the year, as we can tell, because it's only a small portion of the orbit. So we'll keep pulling back. I'll get the cursor in place just to make sure that we're seeing it exactly right, happening in the exact right place. Here we go. So just about here, we'll say, and then we'll keep moving backwards in time and see when the Earth comes back around to that crossing point. And here we go. All right, there's the chance that I'm a little bit off. It's showing it there in November, but of course the Orionids meteor shower peaks in October. But this isn't the most accurate measurement ever, so I'll give myself some benefit of the doubt there. But we can see how the comet comes in through the inner solar system and crosses the orbit of the Earth twice. More or less. There is a chance that because of the inclination of the comet, and these things do have inclinations, there is a chance that the path of the comet is actually crossing the Earth's orbit back here, but potentially over or under the Earth's orbit when we come around over here. That is one of the things with comets, and it is unfortunate that we can't see its orbit, that its orbit isn't coming up here. We'll get rid of those orbits before we come back to our view from the Earth. But before we come back to our view from the Earth, we'll just zoom out a little bit. I might bring back the orbit labels just to make this clear. But we will come back to the present day just to get a better idea. There we go. Of where the comet currently is in relation to the rest of the solar system. So we'll pop back on our orbits for the major planets only. We don't need everything else. That puts the comet just outside the orbit of Uranus, wherever Uranus is. But still inside the orbit of Neptune. So there we can see it, and it is of course going to take, we'll stay centered on it so things don't get too wobbly. It is going to take a long time for it to make its way back into the inner solar system and back out again. So we have to look at pretty big timescales just to get it moving quickly enough. But you might also notice that it moves much slower on the way out and then very quickly once it's into the inner solar system. The comets can be quite slow moving at their aphelion, and then they speed up quite a lot at their perihelion. But that's Comet 1P Halley. That is the progenitor, the parent body of the Orionid meteor shower, which we can enjoy tonight and also next year and every year in late October. I hope you enjoyed this video taking a look at the meteor shower and the comet and how they relate to each other. If you enjoyed this video, please do like it. If you enjoyed this kind of content, then please subscribe to this YouTube channel. And if you'd like to read this information, you can do so on my website, queevinscontent.ie. Thank you very much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you back here next time.